Before they got out of bed to leave the hotel, Lisa pulled Jennie close against the mattress. Lisa leaned down over Jennie's shoulder, her dark eyes filled with a deep, possessive intensity. Her lips pressed against Jennie's collarbone, leaving a dark, visible mark right above her skin. Jennie gasped softly, feeling the sharp sting. "Lisa, what are you doing?" Lisa pulled back slightly, her thumb tracing the fresh mark. "I am leaving a reminder." Jennie looked at her reflection in the side mirror, her eyes wide. "My parents are going to see this." Lisa grabbed Jennie's chin gently, forcing Jennie to look right into her eyes. "Let them see." Jennie smirked despite her fear. "Since when did you get so possessive, Miss Tudor?" Lisa's deep voice dropped into a low whisper. "Since the moment you decided to play with me?" Jennie ran her fingers over the mark, feeling her heart race. "This is dangerous, Lisa." Lisa leaned in close to her ear, her breath warm against Jennie's skin. "It's a reminder that you belong to me, no matter what rules we fake." Jennie bit her lip, pulling Lisa's shirt closer. "How am I supposed to hide this at home?" Lisa smiled smoothly, standing up from the bed. "Cover it up, Miss Kim, or spend all day answering your father's questions." Jennie sat up, holding the sheet against her chest. "You really don't care if I get caught, do you?" Lisa stopped adjusting her collar and looked back at her. "I care about keeping you in line." Jennie laughed softly, standing up from the bed. "I think you just wanted to mark what's yours." Lisa stepped closer, her tall frame blocking the light. "Are you complaining?" Jennie shook her head, looking up into Lisa's dark eyes. "No, I like it." Lisa's expression softened into a slow, dominant smile. "Good girl." Jennie grabbed her sweater from the floor, trying to position the collar over her neck. "It's too dark. A sweater won't hide this completely." Lisa reached into her bag and tossed a small makeup concealer onto the bed. "Use that." Jennie picked up the tube, impressed. "Why do you have makeup in your bag, Miss Tudor?" Lisa leaned down, her hands resting on Jennie's waist from behind. "Because I knew I was going to leave a mark on you before you left." Jennie felt a shiver go down her spine. "You planned this?" Lisa kissed the back of Jennie's neck softly. "I always have a plan." Jennie looked at her in the mirror while applying the makeup. "What happens when I go back home alone?" Lisa met her gaze in the mirror, her hands firm on Jennie's hips. "You act like nothing happened." Jennie sighed, blending the cream over her collarbone. "Back to playing the innocent daughter?" Lisa tilted Jennie's head back slightly. "Only when your parents are watching." Jennie smiled, her chest heaving slightly. "And when they're not?" Lisa pulled Jennie back against her chest, her grip tightening. "Then you remember this mark." Jennie turned around in her arms, wrapping her hands around Lisa's neck. "You're getting worse every day." Lisa held her close, her gaze locked on Jennie's lips. "You created this monster, Jennie." Jennie stood on her tiptoes, kissing Lisa's jaw. "And I don't regret it at all." Lisa checked her watch, her tone shifting back to business. "Your cab is arriving downstairs." Jennie pulled Lisa's necktie gently. "Are you coming with me?" Lisa chuckled quietly, pulling Jennie's hands down. "No. You need to head home alone so your parents don't ask questions." Jennie rolled her eyes teasingly. "Strict as always, Miss Lisa." Lisa placed a quick, firm kiss on Jennie's forehead. "Now put your shoes on and head out." Jennie grabbed her bag, turning back at the door. "When will I see you again?" Lisa smirked faintly, crossing her arms. "At your house for tutoring later today." Jennie grinned, stepping into the hallway. "Don't be late, Miss Tudor." Lisa watched her leave, her voice low. "I'm never late for you." Jennie stepped out of the cab, pulling her oversized hoodie high up to her chin. Her pulse raced as she walked up the front driveway, checking her reflection in her phone screen one last time to make sure the concealer was covering Lisa's mark. She quietly unlocked the front door and slipped inside, trying to head straight for the stairs. "Jennie?" Her mother's voice echoed from the kitchen, followed by the sound of footsteps. Jennie froze on the second step, forcing a calm smile onto her face as her mother walked into the hallway, wiping her hands on a towel. "You're finally home," Mrs. Kim said, looking her over with a mix of relief and lingering annoyance. "We were worried sick this morning." "I know, Mom. I'm really sorry." Jennie lied smoothly, taking a small step back up the stairs. I just woke up with a massive headache and came straight back. Where is your jacket? Why are you wearing that thick hoodie inside? Her mother asked, frowning at Jennie's bundled-up outfit. It's warm outside. I felt a bit chilly on the ride home, Jennie replied, keeping her head down. Are you coming down with something? Mrs. Kim stepped closer. Let me feel your forehead. No, Mom, I'm fine, Jennie said quickly, backing up another step. As her mother reached out, her hand brushed near Jennie's neck, pulling the heavy fabric down slightly. Jennie gasped, quickly stepping out of reach. Mrs. Kim paused, her eyes narrowing sharply. What is that on your collarbone? Jennie's heart hammered against her ribs. She instantly pulled the collar tight against her skin. What's what? There's nothing there, Mom. It looks like a red mark, her mother insisted, stepping closer with a suspicious glare. Did you break out in a rash? It's just an insect bite, Mom, Jennie blurted out in defensive panic. A mosquito bit me at Jisu's house last night, and I scratched it too hard. Let me see it properly, Mrs. Kim demanded, reaching out again. I can put some ointment on it. No, Mom, stop. It's totally fine. Jennie raised her voice slightly, playing up her annoyance. I don't need ointment for a bite. Mrs. Kim stopped, letting her hand drop with a sigh. You shouldn't scratch your skin like that, Jennie. It leaves bad marks. I know, Mom, I'm sorry. Jennie softened her tone, letting out a fake, exhausted sigh. I'm just really tired. Did you eat anything at Jisu's? Her mother asked, her concern slowly replacing her suspicion. Yeah, we had breakfast before I left, Jennie answered quickly. I just want to take a quick nap before studying. All right, Mrs. Kim nodded, turning back toward the kitchen. Miss Lisa is coming for tutoring at 3, so make sure you're awake. Is Dad still upset with me? Jennie asked quietly, holding on to the wooden banister. He went to his office, her mother replied. He'll be back for dinner, so be on your best behavior. I will, Jennie promised, taking another step up. Thanks, Mom. Go get some rest, Mrs. Kim said before walking away. Jennie didn't wait another second. She hurried up the rest of the stairs, ducked into her bedroom, and shut the door behind her with a heavy sigh of relief. She leaned against the closed door, her breathing fast as she slowly slid down to sit on the carpet. Raising her hand, she gently traced the concealer covering Lisa's mark on her skin. A small, secret smile crept onto Jennie's lips despite the terrifying close call. Lisa's dangerous reminder was still right there, and in just a few hours her tutor would be walking right back into this room. Precisely at 3 p.m. the doorbell rang. Jennie's heart did a nervous flip as she smoothed down her high-collared shirt and walked downstairs to open the door. Lisa stood on the porch, holding her briefcase, her posture perfect and professional. Good afternoon, Miss Lisa, Jennie said politely, stepping aside. Good afternoon, Jennie, Lisa replied, her voice smooth and formal as she walked into the foyer. Mrs. Kim walked out from the living room with a warm smile. Lisa, thank you for coming. Jennie had a rough night, but she's ready to study. It's no trouble at all, Mrs. Kim, Lisa said, bowing slightly. We'll head upstairs and start right away. They walked up the stairs in silence. As soon as they stepped into Jennie's bedroom, Lisa closed the door behind them, leaving it cracked open. Lisa set her briefcase on the desk, then turned to face Jennie. The formal, distant persona vanished instantly, replaced by a cold, possessive aura. Take off the collar, Lisa commanded softly, her voice dropping into a low, smooth tone. Jennie smirked, leaning back against the edge of her bed. Excuse me? You heard me, Miss Kim, Lisa said, stepping closer until her shadow covered Jennie completely. Show me. Jennie slowly unbuttoned the top 2 buttons of her shirt, revealing her collarbone. The dark mark sat right above her skin, lightly covered with makeup. Lisa leaned down, her long fingers gently tracing the warm skin around the hickey. Her touch made Jennie shudder. You tried to hide it, Lisa whispered, her thumb pressing firmly against the mark. Jennie gasped softly, looking up into Lisa's intense eyes. My mom almost saw it, Lisa. I had to tell her it was a mosquito bite. Lisa let out a low, dangerous chuckle, her eyes flashing with satisfaction. A mosquito bite? Yes, Jennie murmured, her hands resting against Lisa's waist. She wanted to put cream on it. She shouldn't touch what belongs to me, Lisa said, her deep voice sending a rush through Jennie's veins. You're completely crazy, Jennie whispered, tilting her head back. Did you cover it because you were scared of getting caught? Lisa asked, her grip on Jennie's waist tightening slightly. I covered it because I didn't want my mom asking questions, Jennie replied, her pulse racing. Good, Lisa murmured, because no one else gets to see it. It hurt, you know, Jennie muttered, looking up at Lisa's lips. You didn't have to bite so hard. I needed to make sure it lasted, Lisa said smoothly, her thumb stroking Jennie's jaw. Does it still sting? A little, Jennie admitted, her voice dropping to a whisper. Do you feel guilty about it? Lisa's eyes narrowed with a slow, dominant smile. Not even for a second. You're terrible, Miss Tudor, Jennie chuckled softly, pulling Lisa closer. I told you, Lisa whispered, bringing her lips right against Jennie's ear. This is your reminder. Every time you look in the mirror, you remember who owns you. I didn't forget, Jennie whispered back, her chest heaving slightly. Not for 1 second today. Good girl, Lisa murmured softly. Now button your shirt back up. Jennie bit her lip, pulling Lisa closer. Prove it again. Lisa pulled back just enough to look Jennie straight in the eyes, her expression turning stern. Not today. Sit at the desk and open your textbook, Miss Kim. Jennie sighed playfully, rolling her eyes. Back to being strict? Your father is downstairs, Lisa reminded her smoothly, pulling out a chair. Now sit before I decide to give you another lesson. Fine, Jennie grumbled softly, walking over to the desk. Which page? Page 42, Lisa answered, opening her notebook. And keep your focus on the lesson. Hard to focus when you're sitting right next to me, Jennie teased, opening her book. Lisa didn't break character, her dark eyes fixing on Jennie's textbook. That sounds like a personal problem, Miss Kim. Jennie smiled secretly, buttoning her shirt back up as she sat down at the desk. Jennie leaned back, letting her elbow rest on the desk as she twirled a strand of hair around her finger. Daddy, my head hurts, Jennie sighed, letting out a dramatic groan. We've been at this for 20 minutes. Lisa didn't look up from her notes. You have an exam in 3 days, Jennie. Keep reading. Jennie hummed, deliberately shifting her position. She stretched out her leg under the small desk, her shoe lightly brushing against Lisa's ankle. Lisa's pen paused for a fraction of a second, but her face remained cold. Watch your space, Miss Kim. Jennie smirked, leaning closer so her shoulder nearly touched Lisa's arm. Or what? You'll discipline me? Lisa turned her head slowly, her dark eyes locking onto Jennie with an intense warning look. Do not push your luck today. I'm not pushing anything, Jennie murmured teasingly, her gaze dropping down to Lisa's lips. I'm just bored, Daddy. You are supposed to be studying, Lisa said, her voice dropping into that deep, quiet tone that always made Jennie's chest tighten. How am I supposed to study when you're sitting this close? Jennie whispered, her voice full of mischief. Lisa's eyes narrowed slightly. Are you making excuses again? Maybe, Jennie giggled softly, leaning her cheek against her palm. Or maybe I just want your attention. You already have my attention, Lisa replied smoothly, and right now it's focused on getting you a passing grade. Jennie reached out, her fingertips lightly brushing against the edge of Lisa's neat blazer cuff. You're no fun when you're being the perfect tutor. Lisa caught Jennie's wrist in midair, her long fingers wrapping around it with firm, unyielding strength. Jennie gasped softly, her breath catching in her throat as Lisa squeezed just tight enough to prove a point. Do you think this is a game? Lisa whispered, leaning in so close that her breath warm against Jennie's cheek. Maybe I do, Daddy, Jennie challenged, her voice trembling slightly despite her confident smirk. You really enjoy testing my limits, don't you? Lisa asked, her dark eyes locking onto Jennie's. Only because I like seeing what you'll do about it, Jennie confessed, biting her lower lip. Lisa's grip on her wrist tightened just a fraction. You're playing a dangerous game, Miss Kim. Then punish me, Jennie whispered boldly, her eyes flashing with rebellion. Lisa let out a soft, dangerous laugh under her breath. Not while your parents are in the house. They won't come up here, Jennie murmured, tilting her chin up. That doesn't mean you get to behave like this, Lisa scolded softly, her tone laced with pure possessiveness. Why not? Jennie challenged. You marked me this morning, didn't you? Lisa's eyes darkened as she glanced down at Jennie's high collar. And I can easily add another one if you don't stay quiet. Jennie's breath caught in her throat. Is that a threat, Daddy? It's a promise, Lisa replied quietly, her thumb pressing firmly against Jennie's inner wrist. Lisa pulled Jennie's wrist down, anchoring it to the desk surface. She tilted her head, her eyes dark and possessive as she glanced toward the slightly open door, then back at Jennie. Your father is sitting in the living room right downstairs, Lisa murmured, her thumb pressing into the pulse point on Jennie's wrist. One word from me, and he walks up these stairs. Jennie's eyes widened slightly, her pulse hammering under Lisa's thumb. You wouldn't. Try me, Lisa replied smoothly, a faint, dangerous smile playing at the corner of her lips. Test my patience one more time, Jennie, and see what happens. Jennie bit her lip, feeling the thrilling rush of fear and desire mixing together. You're mean, Daddy. I am your tutor, Lisa corrected, finally letting go of Jennie's wrist and picking her pen back up. Now read page 45. Jennie rubbed her wrist, her cheeks flushed as she looked back down at her textbook, completely defeated yet thoroughly captivated. Heavy footsteps echoed on the wooden staircase outside the bedroom door. Jennie's eyes widened in sheer panic, her head snapping toward the hallway. The slight creak of the floorboards confirmed it. Her father was walking up the stairs. Lisa didn't flinch. Her expression remained completely calm, but her grip on Jennie's wrist tightened just a fraction under the desk. Jennie? Her father's deep voice echoed through the door. Jennie froze, her breath catching in her throat. She looked at Lisa, her heart hammering wildly against her chest. Lisa leaned in slightly, her voice dropping to a deadly, possessive whisper right against Jennie's ear. Fix your posture, Miss Kim, and answer your father. Jennie swallowed hard, pulling her high collar up as far as it would go. Yes, Dad? The door pushed open further, and Mr. Kim stepped into the doorway holding a stack of documents. His sharp eyes scanned the room, landing first on Lisa, who sat perfectly upright with a polite, professional posture. Sorry to interrupt, Lisa, Mr. Kim said, his tone heavy and authoritative. I just wanted to make sure Jennie isn't causing any trouble today. Not at all, Mr. Kim, Lisa replied smoothly, standing up and bowing her head respectfully. Jennie is paying close attention. We were just going over her upcoming exam topics. Under the desk, Jennie's knees were shaking. She forced a faint, innocent smile onto her face. I'm studying hard, Dad. Her father's eyes narrowed slightly as he looked at Jennie's bundled sweater. Why do you have your sweater pulled all the way up to your chin? The house isn't cold. Jennie's throat went dry. I just felt a bit chilly, Dad. My head was hurting earlier. Mr. Kim took a step closer into the room. Let me see if you have a fever. She doesn't have a fever, Mr. Kim. Lisa stepped in seamlessly, her voice calm, commanding, and smooth as silk. I checked her temperature when I arrived. She's just slightly fatigued from studying. Her father paused, looking at Lisa. He respected Lisa's strict discipline, so he accepted the explanation without question. All right, Mr. Kim nodded, turning back toward the stairs. Don't let her slack off, Lisa. She needs to pass this test. You have my word, sir, Lisa said politely. The moment her father's footsteps faded back down the stairs, Jennie let out a long, shuddering breath, her whole body slumping forward against the desk. That was too close, Jennie gasped, pressing her hands against her burning cheeks. He almost checked my neck. Lisa closed the bedroom door completely, turning the lock with a quiet, decisive click. She walked back to the desk, standing tall right over Jennie. The polite tutor was gone again. He didn't check, Lisa murmured, her dark eyes locking onto Jennie's flushed face. Because I handled it. Jennie looked up at her, a rebellious smirk returning to her lips despite her racing pulse. My hero, Daddy. Lisa's eyes darkened as she leaned down, resting both hands on the armrests of Jennie's chair, trapping her completely. You were terrified a second ago, Miss Kim. I was, Jennie whispered, tilting her chin up. But I knew you wouldn't let him catch us. Don't get comfortable, Lisa warned, her deep voice sending a shiver through Jennie's spine. That little trick you pulled earlier? We still need to settle that score once your father leaves. Jennie's breath caught, her heart racing for an entirely different reason now. Are you going to punish me, Daddy? Lisa smiled faintly, her thumb lightly tracing Jennie's cheekbone. Wait until class is over, Miss Kim. Now open your book.